And we have a motion to agenda that the agenda for the Committee of Adjustment / Land Division Committee meeting held on October 22nd, 2024 be approved. Moved by Deputy Mayor Stover, seconded by Councillor Ainsworth. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion's carried. Are there anybody that wishes to declare this disclosure of pecuniary interest, the general nature thereof? Seeing none, that'll be noted. Approval of the minutes. This is the Committee of Adjustment Land Division meeting minutes of September 24th, 2024. I'll read the motion that the minutes for the Committee of Adjustment Land Division Committee meeting held on September 24th, 2024 be approved. Did I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Ainsworth, seconded by Councillor O'Neill. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion's carried. Is there any business arising from those previous minutes? Seeing none, that'll be noted. We're going to move on to consents. And our first application for consent is for Serraris Construction and Development Limited for Brian James Serraris, application AH3-2024 and AH14-2024. Tracy, do you want to lead us through this? Can we hear it, Tracy? Just a comment. Yep, I think you can. Good.
Chair and committee members, the application for consent AH13-2024 and AH14-2024 by Fair Construction and Development Limited proposes the creation of two new 0.62 hectare or 1.5 acre rural residential lot with a 49.04 hectare lot to be retained. The subject property is located on the north side of Second Line Road, west of Masters Road, southeast of Road Mead. The majority of the subject lands are under agricultural cultivation. The majority of the land where the lots are proposed are vegetated and not farmed. There are agricultural lands surrounding the subject property and smaller residential lots to the south. The subject property is primarily designated rural with a small portion in the very northwest corner of the property in the Oak Ridges Moraine. There is requirement for compliance to the minimum distance separation, as there are two existing livestock farms located within 750 meters of the retained land and one within 750 meters of the proposed covered land. A setback of 275 meters is required from a farm located at 12264 Second Line Road at a 257 setback from the farm located at 12332 Second Line Road and an 89 meter setback from the farm located at 12432 Second Line. The proposal is consistent with the provincial policy statement of 2024. Within the Oak Ridges Moraine Plan conservation area, no development is proposed that were conformed with that plan. The proposal is consistent with both the Alderman and Montgomery County plan. The majority of the subject property is on Schedule A of zoning bylaw Act 2019, while the small portion of the northwest corner zone Oak Ridges Moraine environmental and Oak Ridges Moraine linkage. The rural zone has currently wide range of uses, including single agricultural, PUC, forestry uses. Because the lot area minimum is 5 hectares, a rezoning will be required to address the lot area, and the applications are subject to related rezoning application 706/2024. The application was circulated to a number of departments and agencies. Public Works has advised that there are no concerns with the proposal, and entrance permit applications will be required for the severed lots prior to development. Northumberland County has no objection to the approval. They noted that the development is set back sufficiently from wooded areas in the northeast portion of, or sorry, northwest portion of the subject property. There's no adverse impact on county road infrastructure, and prior to the issuance of permit is required. Lower Trent Conservation advised that there are no natural hazards on the subject land, and that there are no features that are regulated under their regulation. So they have no objection with approval. Although First Nation has no comments with the application. Notice of the application was circulated to all registered owners within 60 meters of the subject property, and the sign was posted. No public comments have been received to date. The proposed severed lots are located in a rural part of the municipality with frontage on Second Line Road, which is the municipally maintained road. As noted, a rezoning is required to address lot area. The proposal is consistent with the provincial policy statement, Oakridge's moraine and conservation plans, and the intent of the Northumberland County and Township of Falmouth official plan. We are recommending approval subject to standard conditions as well as the rezoning. It should be noted that this is also a public meeting component, so we'll have to ask if there's any members online or in the audience, but with comments on the application. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Does council have any comments? Yes, let me hear.
To you, Mayor Lobo, to Tracy, and planner. What class of the Oakridge's moraine is this?
Where the lots are proposed at that side of the Oakridge's moraine.
Oh,
The Oakridge's moraine is located in the very
okay.
corner, probably about in this location here.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Yeah, we'll figure it out. So at the very corner, so it's well outside of the proposed lot. They are designated rural.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Councilor.
Just a comment that I'm pleased to see that we're looking at smaller lot sizes rather than the 5 hectare.
Any comments? Any comments from the gallery? Questions and comments? Barry, do you have any comments?
Oh, yeah, one time.
He needs the,
Our judge said one time.
Okay, sorry, can we check if anyone online first? Thank you.
Is there anything online that you wish to comment on the application? If someone's online, please go ahead. Hearing none, Barry, go ahead, please. Just a sec, Barry.
So for any members of the public who are watching online, if there's anybody that would like to comment on this, you can raise your hand by hitting Alt-Y if you're using Windows, or Option-Y if you're using a Mac system. For any of the callers, if you use, I believe it's *9, you can raise your hand that way and we'll be able to unmute you at that point.
Is there anybody online? Okay. Thank you, Barry. Go ahead, please.
Okay, one time it was a joint house there, and we grew up with kids, and in that corner was three corner bits. So we have a bunch of younger people in our family, and one lot's gonna go to my sister's grandson. Make it affordable for these kids, because it's the only way it's gonna happen. We're not gonna get money from us, we're gonna get some property, so if we can do it at this time, so that's what's going on.
Thank you. Any further comments from council? I'll read the resolution. It is recommended that the Land Division Committee or the Committee of Adjustment for the Corporation of the Township of Alan Haldeman and act as follows. The applications AH 13-2024 and AH 14-2004 by Serraris Construction and Development Limited, Ryan James Serraris, to two parcels of land for the creation of a new rural residential lot in concession 1, part of lot 20 and 21, geographically in the township of Allenwick, are approved subject to the following conditions. That a registered survey for the severed parcels be submitted to the township. Number 2, in addition to the registered survey, a geo-referenced DWG file of the survey be provided in a format satisfactory to the township and Northumberland County. Number 3, that a draft transfer for the severed parcels be submitted to the township. Number 4, that the tax account for the subject property be paid up to date. Number 5, that a zoning bylaw amendment be in effect for the severed parcels pursuant to the Planning Act. Number 6, that the $12,796.34 development charge for each severed lot be paid to the township of Allenwick Haldeman. And number 7, that the $1,500 cash in lieu of parkland fee for each severed lot be paid to the township of Allenwick Haldeman. Could I get a mover and a second? Moved by Deputy Mayor Stover, second by Councilor Ainsworth. Any questions? I'll call a vote. All in favor? Motion carried. Thank you very much, Mr. Serraris. We're going to move on to the second application, and it's PLN 22465, an application for consent, and it's from Cheryl Wilson and Robert Lackey, AH 152024, on the 12th day of October 2024. Madam, please go ahead.
Chair and committee members, the purpose of application A 15-2024 is to discover a parcel of vacant rural land located in part 30, concession 9, geographic Haldeman, located on the east side and west side of Merritt Road, for the purpose of a donation to the Northumberland Land Trust. The subject property is located on the east and west side of Merritt Road, on the north side of County Road 9. Portion of the subject land are under agricultural cultivation, while the balance is forestry. There are agricultural lands to the east, south, and south. The proposed retaining lands to have a house, park, and outbuilding. There are multiple tributaries of Rice Lake coming throughout the subject property, traveling south to north. By carrying wetlands may encompass portions of those tributaries. The subject property is located within the Oak Ridge Moraine and are subject to the policies of the Oak Ridge Moraine Conservation Plan. The property is designated the Oak Ridge Moraine Natural Core, Countryside, and Countryside Aggregate Resources on Schedule 5 of the Township of Allenwick Commercial Plan. The proposal is consistent with the provincial policy statement as it does speaks to protection of natural heritage features for the long term, and the proposal is intending to convey the land to a conservation body as a nature preserve, which meets the intent of the natural heritage policies. The Oak Ridge Moraine Plan does allow for severances or donations for facilitating conveyances to the public bodies or nonprofit entities for national heritage conservation. The proposed severed parcel will be conveyed to the Northumberland Land Trust, which is a registered charity that is dedicated to protecting nature through land conservation across Northumberland County. The severance is consistent with the Oak Ridge Moraine Plan as it will be transferred to the Land Trust for National Heritage Preservation. The proposal is consistent with both the county and Allenwick official plan. It is designated in our plan as Oak Ridge Moraine Natural Core, Countryside, and Countryside Aggregate. Like the PPS, the official plan policies require proposed lots to be appropriately sized for to accommodate the proposed use as beverage use. And the requisite services in the state are private septic systems as well, and we're proposed to take modern larger enough to accommodate the existing dwelling of buildings and supporting services, the private services. Within zoning bylaws, the properties of Oak Ridge Marine Environmental, Oak Ridge Marine Core, Oak Ridge Marine Countryside, and Oak Ridge Marine Plan Review. The zones permit fish, wildlife enforcement, forest management, and conservation projects, including flood and erosion control. In addition to these uses, the Oak Ridge Marine Forest on permit homes, businesses, homes, fish homes, and other. The Oak Ridge Marine Forest zone permits a variety of uses, including fish, wildlife, and forest management. The above noted zones do not contain regulations pertaining to minimum lot areas and frontage, and as such, a rezoning is not required. The application was submitted to a number of departments and agencies. Public Works indicated they have no concerns with the proposal. Measuring permit application may be required should the driveway be proposed in the future to be covered or retain loss from your neighborhood. The Cumberland County reviewed the application and have no objection to the proposal, subject to the applicant satisfying or requested conditions to the vehicular access extension. For vehicular entrance off Marriott Road and adherence to road widening conditions across the frontage of each parcel that about County Road 9. Lower Track has no objection to the approval of the application. Detailed comments were provided to the applicant to inform them of the applicability of the Conservation Authority Act and the regulations that apply to the retained land. Alderville First Nation have no comments or concerns with this application. Notice was circulated to all registered owners within 15 years of the subject property, and the sign is posted. No public comment covering the dispute state. Severances that facilitate the conveyance of land to a nonprofit or public body for the purpose of national heritage conservation is permitted by the Oak Ridge Marine Conservation Plan. The proposed severed lot will be conveyed to the Northumberland Land Trust, a registered charity that is dedicated to protecting nature through land conservation across Northumberland County. As a condition of consent, the applicant will be required to submit an undertaking to transfer covered land to the Northumberland Land Trust. The application is a provision policy statement of the Oak Ridge Marine Conservation Plan and maintains the intent of the policy set forth in the Northumberland County Official Plan and Township of Alma Quality Official Plan. This application is recommended for approval, subject to typical conditions and the requirement for a road widening to be dedicated to Northumberland County and to submit an undertaking to confirm that the severed land will be dedicated to the Northumberland County Land Trust. This is a public meeting requirement, so I'll have that we check to see if there's any members of the public online or in the audience. And I do believe the representative from the Northumberland County Land Trust is online.
Thank you very much. Does council have any questions or comments? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Great to see. This is quite a unique property when I look at the retained property as opposed to what the land trust is getting. And I really draw your attention to that little strip on either side of the road. So that looks pretty fancy. Survey, so I think this is a great move. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ainsworth.
Through you, Mayor Logo. Tracy, is it possible to get sketches of these tributaries to Rice Lake on our applications here? Because when I go out and look at the property, like I can't see any water at all, any streams, any runoff there. There's a culvert that goes underneath the road. it would be nice to know, and I will bring this up with Lower Trent also at our next meeting, is just to see what they're talking about when it comes to tributaries to Rice Lake, because that kind of sits down in a bit of a hollow where this property is, and for anything to get up over there down in the Rice Lake would be kind of short of a miracle, but if they could show that to us, it would probably help. And I don't know if the landowners are here today, maybe they could explain something if they're here.
Go ahead,
Share.
Adam.
For your comment, the overstrike conservation data provides the mapping that we can have to and to look at.
Okay.
It is kind of like property, so it
Mhm.
has the more that it would look down. But there are a number of tributaries that are not, they may not be flowing year round, some of them may be what they call intermittent, when they're flowing in spring and not as much really. They didn't give that much detail in the comments,
Okay.
but in the future, I could probably put the mapping and an attachment to the report. If you'd like.
Yeah, that'd be nice, great. And also with the new regulation of 4124, which talks about minimal distance from any water course, or what a water course can be called as right now, I think that might come into the question with these tributaries that are on that land, if they are on that land, instead of looking at the map, like actually if you're walking the land. So it just confuses me when I see it. And then if our residents have to jump through any more hoops for I don't want to say misinformation, but for something that's not there, I think it needs to be more clarified.
In my opinion, I think like, in my opinion, that should be coming from the Conservation Authority.
Yes, we should get their map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, any further questions? Go ahead, Mayor Catherine.
Their comments, actually.
Okay.
First of all, it's a pleasure to be sitting here as a counselor when something like this comes forward. This is wonderful. And the other is just a housekeeping item, but it says that the lawyer will transfer to the Oak Ridges Moraine Land Trust. And I think that should read Northumberland Land Trust.
That's correct. Five.
Okay.
So Oak Ridges will be replaced with Northumberland. Thank you.
Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, we're going to open it to people that are in support of this application. And we'd like to hear from either people in the group or outside that are on virtually. So if you have something in favor, please raise your hand, or I can actually raise your hand in virtually too.
Through you, Chair, we do have Sabrina Hasselfelt with a hand raised.
Okay. Sabrina, please go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
I see your hand up, Sabrina. Would you like to comment?
Yes, can you hear me? Can you hear me at all? Hello, can you hear me?
We're having some online difficulties, so we'll wait for, see if we can get it resolved.
Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yeah, I hope you can hear me, Sabrina. See your hand still up. We're having a little bit of a voice or communications problem. And we're going to continue on, but we'll come back to you before we finish up with this application. So next I'll ask, is there anyone against the application? Seeing none? And is there anybody online that would be? Sabrina, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me? Yes, I can. Can you hear me? Hello?
Sabrina?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. You're coming in loud and clear.
Okay, great. Yeah, this is Sabrina Hasselfeld. I'm the Stewardship and Operations Coordinator at Northumberland Land Trust. I was also just going to address the counselor's correction to Condition 5 that it be transferred to Northumberland Land Trust, not Oak Ridges Moraine Land Trust. And I also wanted to address the counselor's question about the tributary connecting to Rice Lake. So on the property, on old mapping systems, it looks to be that there is a permanent water flow, which is not the case. There's actually just a seasonal water flow that comes through the valley lands of the property, but it's a very small seasonal water flow that is only there for maybe a week or two. They say that the donors, Sherilyn Wilson and Robert Lucky, in the spring, and then it's pretty much dry the rest of the year. So there's no permanent tributary on the lands.
Thank you. Any other comments, Sabrina?
Nope, that's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your input. We got somebody else that wants to comment?
Through you, Chair, we do have Catherine McGrattan as well with a hand raised.
Good morning, Catherine. Are you able to hear us?
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Please go
Yeah,
ahead.
that was the question we were concerned about, was the water supply and where it was coming from and how it would affect the residents within the area.
Go ahead, please.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
So this was our concern, was the water supply and where it was coming from and how it would actually affect the residents in the area, if it would affect our well water supplies.
Okay, I understand now. So basically what you're saying is that you're opposed to this, or you're just seeking clarification? Go ahead.
Just seeking clarification.
Thank you. I'm going to pass that on to our planner. Tracy, go ahead.
Hi, the shop location is for the land to the north of Burlington land side, and I'm just wondering if we maybe ask.
Sorry, we can't hear her. It's not very clear.
We'll try again.
I've got to toggle between the two. Try again, Tracy.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's better. Thank you.
I just want to clarify that you're speaking about the Northumberland land trust communication for Cheryl Wilson and Robert Beck. There is no development with those. It's simply land for conservation. Or are you speaking about another app?
Oh, I don't know how to answer that. Go ahead.
But we're inquiring about the location on Dudley Road.
Okay, that's the next item on the agenda.
Oh.
You'll ask.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay, thank you.
Thank you very
So
much.
sorry.
We'll be coming back to it, so stay on the line. Is there anyone that wants to seek clarification on this proposal? Seeing none? There is no applications, comments. So I'll read the motion. That application AH 15/2024 by Cheryl Wilson and Robert Lecky to sever a vacant rural lot in concession 9, part of lot 30, geographically in the township of Haldeman, be approved subject to the following conditions. That a registered survey for the severed parcels be submitted to the township. Number 2, in addition to the registry survey, a geo-referenced DWG file of the survey be provided in a format satisfactory to the township and Northumberland County. That a draft transfer for the severed parcels be submitted to the township. Number 4, that a tax account for the subject property be paid up to date. Number 5, that the tax account for the subject property be paid up to date. Number 5, that the applicant's lawyer submit an undertaking confirming that the severed parcels will be transferred to the Oak Ridges Moraine. Northumberland, yes. Northumberland Land Trust to be used for natural heritage conservation. That the applicants prepare on a survey or draft reference plan to the satisfaction of the township of Alma-Calderman and the county of Northumberland that illustrates a vehicular entrance point off Marriott Road to access the proposed severed parcels of land. That the applicant submit a 39R reference plan at their expense to the satisfaction of the county of Northumberland, which illustrates a minimum road widening of 17 meters from the center line of County Road 9 along the frontage of the retained and severed parcels. And number 8, that the applicant's deed of road widening to the satisfaction of the county of Northumberland at their expense, and that it is free and clear of all encumbrances. Could I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Deputy Mayor Stover, seconded by Councilor O'Neill. Any further discussion? All in favor? That motion is carried. Next, we have an application for consent from Philip and Carol Baskerville, AH 16/2024. The applicant for consent for Philip and Carol Baskerville, AH 16/2024 on October the 22nd, 2024. Go ahead, Madam Planner.
Thank you through the chair and the committee members. The purpose of application A16/2024 is a new 4.71 hectare lot and a 4.74 hectare retaining. The subject property is located on the south side of Aaron Road. There are rural residential lots along with larger rural lots to the east and north to Devon Road. Lands to the east and south are wooded, and there are tributaries of Lake Ontario located in and abutting property. The subject property is primarily designated rural within the township. Official plan. A portion of the retained land are regulated by the Lower Tribe Conservation Authority, who review their responsibility in regards to natural hazards. In section 9.2, they noted floodplain mapping is not currently available for the map area of Lake Ontario. And as such, they set up setting up the property that makes farm courses unknown. Their compliance with minimum distance separation requirements is mandated by both provincial policy statement and the Alma Health official plan to ensure that there would be a no harm available. Existing horsepower located at 7,000 roads within 700. A setback of 103 meters is required from the farm, which is well outside. The proposal is consistent with the provincial policy statement. Northumberland County designates most of the property as rural areas, and provincial and county land use policies support lot creation. The township of Alma-Calderman, the plan designates the property as rural as noted, and the rural designations that are marginal by agriculture and have potential for non-agricultural. Permitted uses include agricultural related on-farm diversity uses, small scale commercial industrial uses that are related to the rural economy. The proposed summer lot is considered rural residential and is permitted in that designation. The land division policies in section 4.2.1 requires lots to have frontage on a year-round municipally named road, which W road is. The section 4.2.43 permits a maximum of severances on land commitments that are less than 36 hectares on the first 1990. A lot was created previously from the land holdings in 2018. Should the proposed lot be approved, no further severances will be permitted from the land holdings. Section 3.22 indicates that no new related of land uses where it is indicated that you the provincial guidelines. The specified distance highway or line right of way is 500 meters for that requirement. There is adequate distance on the lot to develop outside of that 100-meter distance. Section 7.4.2 indicates that sites with archaeological potential shall require archaeological documents to be undertaken by a licensed archaeologist as a condition of approval or development application. The Ministry of Tourism, Culture, and Sport provides a checklist of criteria for evaluating archaeological potential. Since the proposed development is within 300 meters of a water source, the proposal meets the criteria to learn geological. The proposed evidence complies with the policies set forth in the township of Alderman official plan and maintains the intent of the official plan policy subject to conditions. The subject property is zoned rural within the zoning bylaw 2019. That zone permits a wide range of uses, including single detached dwellings, agriculture, and farm uses, forestry uses, bed and breakfast establishments alongside with other uses provided with a minimum lot of 5 hectares. The proposed number of lots are slightly less than 5 hectares and to address lot area. A number of departments and agencies were circulated. Public Works, I got an entrance permit application will be required for several lots prior to development. The Northumberland County reviewed the application and has no objection to the proposal. They suggested the applicant to prepare and submit an archaeological assessment to the Ministry of Citizenship and Multiculturalism in accordance with the Heritage Act. Ontario Heritage Act. It was noted that the development will not have any adverse impact on the roads or infrastructure. Prior to issuing of a building permit, the permit is required to serve any new dwelling. Lord Trent Conservation had no objection to the approval of the application. Detailed comments will be provided to the applicant to inform them of the applicability for part 6 of the Conservation Affairs Act Regulation 4124 as applied to the retained lands. Alderman First Nation did provide revised comments since the writing of the report. They indicated that due to the location of waterways associated with Lake Ontario and historic road close by, an archaeological assessment is recommended. Notice of the application was circulated to all registered owners within 60 meters of the subject property. One phone call was received, or actually 2 phone calls were received on the application requesting further clarification on the separate. The proposed separate lot is located in a rural part of the municipality with frontage road, year-round municipally maintained road. A rezoning is required to address lot area as it doesn't conform with the rural zone. The rezoning should also address an adequate setback to the Highway 401 right of way to address potential noise impact. The application is consistent with the provincial policy statement and maintains the intent of the North County and Township of plans. Thank you. Oh, and this is also a public meeting with
Yes.
respect to these that are members that want to speak. Thank you.
I'll ask members of council, do you have any questions or concerns regarding this application? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
To you, Mayor Lobo, to you, Madam Tracy, when I look at, I guess, when I look at the description of the severed to the retained, it's rather unique. So for me, it kind of looks like a bowling alley. I guess seeing that it conforms to all the regulations and the rules, it is going to be a unique piece of property. So that was my only comment.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councilor Ainsworth.
Yeah, for you, Mayor Lowell. Again, I just want to highlight the section 41.4 that applies this retained part. And I wonder if that could be clarified more again. I go and I look at the property there, and there's an old culvert with a small stream that goes through it. And that whole property is very, like in a valley. So potential for flooding or that tributary being an issue, I guess again, that's my last comment, could be more clarified.
Go ahead, Madam Planner.
Thank you. I think I got it almost out, so hopefully I can stay on. But to clarify, I did get that from the Conservation Authority, and this is provided to the app. It's a very small area of the retained land on the very side affected. We like to give people more information than not, so they have received the mapping through the Conservation Authority, and the house is located at the existing house and barn are outside of those areas. The shape of the lot kind of reflects the location of the driveway and the fact that things are set back by a distance.
That makes sense.
That answers a lot of questions. Any other questions or comments from council? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Just one through you, Mayor Lobo, to Madam Planner, and this hasn't got anything to do with this. But when I look at the retained lots of 11 acres, and being rural, I realize they have to be larger, but do you foresee any changes where rural lots could be smaller? And when I look at the Serraris property, they have room for more, but they don't qualify for the rent. Because of rural, do you foresee any changes that way, allowing more lots on rural properties?
To answer that question, so there's policies that contain in the official plan for rural services. And there's a policy that speaks to the size of a lot. So if the lot was 36 hectares, you can have up to 3 lots. If it's under 36 hectares, you can have 2 lots. In this case, the lot is less than 36 hectares, so they've already had a lot created off this. I think it was the previous property owner. In the case of this rare application, there was a lot created in a couple of years ago, I believe, maybe it was 2018. So they're at their maximum for a lot. In this case, the zoning has 2 different categories that are typically applied in a rural area. There's rural residential, which are smaller lots, and then there's the rural zone. These lots that are proposed for this are more closely related to the rural zone. Having the larger lot would afford them more permissions for hobby farm type uses, whereas the smaller 1 acre lot wouldn't be large enough to house a horse or 2. So that's the difference at a high level.
Yeah, if I could just add to that, I guess I was looking into the future, and because we do hear that we're in I guess you should turn my mic up. that we're in a bit of a housing crisis, and the provincial government and probably federal government as well is looking at building more homes. So this would be something in the future that, considering everything you've said, I'm just wondering if, in the future, that would be addressed where the regulations could be changed to allow for more settlements. And that's strictly in the future.
That would be done through an official plan review.
Okay.
As a planner, typically we like to see density, increased density in multiple units within settlement areas. And I think I haven't memorized the policies of the new yes, but I think the direction is still there that most of the development should be directed toward settlement areas. So I don't know that we would want, we'll have to figure that out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Madam Planner. I'm going to ask members here in the public who, if they have any questions or comments, or actually what I'm really looking for is support for this application. Seeing none, I'll ask that same question for people that are attending virtually. And basically that is that we're looking for people that are supporting this application.
Chair Vogel, you do have Philip Baskerville with his hand raised.
Philip, please.
Hi, everybody. I apologize for raising my hand, but I'd like just to comment that, with the severances there, actually, my wife and my son are actually at the meeting. Unfortunately, I had to stay. I'm working here. But it's for our eldest son to move in and bring our family just together here.
Okay, thank you. They'll have a chance to speak too later if they so wish to do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is there anybody here in the gallery that is opposed to this application? Seeing none, I believe there could be somebody on virtually that want to comment on this. Please go ahead. Catherine, is that you?
Yes, my husband has a question.
Okay.
We're just so concerned about the water table and the supply running to the new property, and if it's going to affect our house or the other houses in the area.
Can you state your name just so we have it for the record, please?
It's Brett McGrattan.
Please repeat that.
Brett, B-R-E-T-T, last name McGrattan.
Brett. Okay.
Yeah. And it's just about the water supply.
Okay.
How it affects the water table.
Go ahead, Madam Planner.
We don't require something for lot creation in rural areas where we have a lot where we have that would be something that we look back to the subdivision where you have multiple lots, but like we have greater input.
We're having a hard time hearing you. It's not very clear.
Okay, we'll try and get that back.
Thousands of miles away.
Tracy. Just hold on, we're going to use a different mic.
Thank you.
Madam Planner, is that a new desk? So we'll give it a try and see if it works.
Thank you. Can you hear me now?
That's much better. Thank you.
So typically in rural lots where there's significant lot area, it hasn't been a concern for water tables. That would be something that we would look at if there were multiple lots proposed in a concentrated area, like in a subdivision type development. Thank you.
Any further questions?
So basically for one residence, there's no real concern then.
I would expect not.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the question. Okay, I'm going to ask the applicants if they have any comments.
No, just that we would obviously,
Thank you to the mic.
I just wanted to say, we've just moved into the area, and my son has a new baby and wife, and work fairly close, so we're excited to have this subdivision, so we can just have our family together, and looking forward to being in the area.
Thank you for the comment.
Lot creation, not a subdivision.
Madam Planner?
That is correct. I think the reference was to subdivide the lot and not to create a subdivision. Thank you.
Does anyone from council have any further comments? I'm going to read the resolution. That applicant AH 162024 by Philip and Carol Baskerville. Is that better? To sever a parcel of land for the creation of new rural lots in concession A, part of lot 14, geographically in the township of Holdeman, are approved, subject to the following conditions. One, that a registered survey for the severed parcel be submitted to the township. Number two, in addition to the registered survey, a geo-referenced DWG file on the survey be provided in a format satisfactory to the township and Northumberland County. That a draft transfer for the severed parcel be submitted to the township. That the tax account for the subject property be paid up to date. That an archaeological site assessment be prepared by a qualified professional, an archaeologist, and submitted for review. The applicant must provide acknowledgement of submission of the assessment to the Ministry of Citizenship and Multiculturalism. Number six, that a zoning bylaw amendment be in effect for the several and retained parcel pursuant to the Planning Act. The seven, that the 12,796 and 34-cent development charge for the severed lot be paid to the township of Alma-Calderman, and that $1,500 cash in lieu of parkland fee for the severed lot be paid to the township of Alma-Calderman. Is there a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Ainsworth, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stover. Any further questions or comments? All in favor? Motion is carried. We're going to move on to the next applicant. It's for Jason Finley and Holly Jackson Finley, AH 172024. Yep. Absolutely. We're going to take a second here to see if we can get that mic working properly. Have to come in through one of these. Repeating the others.
The other option is we can talk for the first time the microphone on the out, but it's not this. And whether or not I've got to space it. So we're gonna have to abandon those microphones. Okay, and just rely on the speaker.
Okay, so we didn't use the bunch.
No, because I'm gonna have to switch over to the microphone.
Okay.
I don't know if it'll pick up.
Okay.
This distance, it might be okay, but it might be hard for.
Yeah. We're gonna try something a little bit different. So if we do that and you can't hear properly, please let us know. Are you ready?
A18, or sorry, A17, 2024, is for the creation of a hamlet residential lot with an area of 0.64 hectares. A 9.73 hectare lot will be retained. The subject property is located on the east side of Wicklow Road, just north of County Road 2 in the hamlet of Wicklow. There are residential lots to the south, east, and west. Beyond the hamlet residential, there are croplands. There are unevaluated wetland features located in the northern portion of the subject land. A tributary of Shelter Valley Creek flows through the northwestern corner of the subject property. The property is designated hamlet, rural, and environmental protection in the Alderman official plan. The proposed lot is entirely within the hamlet designation. The policies of the provincial policy statement allows for lot creation in rural areas where site conditions are suitable for the provision of appropriate sewage and water services. Rural settlement areas shall be the focus of growth and development, and their vitality should be promoted. The PPS states that development that can be sustained on rural service levels should be promoted. The proposed severed and retained lots are appropriately sized to accommodate private services and have frontage on Wicklow Road, which is a year-round municipally maintained road. A portion of the retained lands are regulated by the Lower Trent Conservation Authority, who reviewed their responsibilities in regards to natural hazards identified in section 5.2. They noted floodplain mapping is not currently available for the map tributary of Shelter Valley Creek, and as such, the potential flooding on the property that may be associated with that water course is unknown. Based on the review of the characteristics of the water course and contributing drainage areas, engineered floodplain mapping would not be warranted to define the flood hazard. The proposal is consistent with the provincial policy statement. The Northumberland County official plan designates the proposed hamlet residential parcel and the south portion of the retained parcel lands as rural settlement areas, where the remaining lands are designated rural areas. The county land use policies support lot creation in rural settlement areas. In the Township of Alderman official plan, as noted earlier, is designated hamlet, rural, and environmental protection. The proposed lot is entirely within the hamlet designation. Section 5.2 supports creation of residential uses. The designation recognizes essential mixed-use character of the settlements and the important role they play as residential, commercial, and social centers within the township. Residential lots for single detached dwellings are indicated to have a minimum of 4,000 meters square with adequate frontage. The proposed severed lot does have frontage on Wicklow Road, which is a year-round maintained road. The proposed severance complies with the policy set forth in the Township of Alderman official plan. The subject property currently is zoned rural and hamlet residential in zoning bylaw 1929. 19. The retained lands are located in the rural zone, which permits a wide range of uses, including single detached dwellings, agricultural, farm, forestry uses, along with others, with a minimum lot size of 5 hectares. And their proposed retained lot conforms with those regulations. The proposed severed lot is entirely within the hamlet residential zones, which permits single detached dwellings, semi-duplexes, secondary dwelling units, and bed and breakfast and home occupations. The proposed lot, which already contains a single detached dwelling, conforms to the minimum lot area and frontage. The application was circulated to a number of departments and agencies. Public Works had no concerns with the proposal. They noted an entrance permit application may be required should development be proposed on the retained lands. Northumberland County had no objection. They noted that future development will not have any adverse impacts on the county roads or infrastructure. Lower Trent had no objection to the approval of the application. Detailed comments will be provided to the applicant to inform them of the regulated areas on the retained land. Alderville First Nation had no comments or concerns with the application. Notice of this application was circulated to all registered owners within 60 meters of the subject property and a sign was posted. The proposed severed lot is located in a rural part of the municipality within the hamlet of Wicklow. The lot has frontage on Wicklow Road, which is municipally maintained. The proposed severed and retained lots comply with the zone regulations. The application is consistent with the PPS and maintains the intent of Northumberland County and Township of Alden official plan. And we're recommending approval of the application subject to standard conditions. And I believe one of the applicants is online, and this is also a public meeting requirement. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Planner. Any questions or comments from members of council? Go ahead, Councilor Ainsworth.
Through you, Mayor. Tracy, it's for both of these lots right here, one on Hilltop and one on Whipple Road.
We haven't discovered, or we haven't talked about the second one yet.
Oh, okay.
This is just for, I understand it's just for the one lot.
Yeah, through the chair of this, I split the applications up in this case. So this first report was dealing with the Wicklow Road application only. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Councilor O'Neill.
Thank you, Mayor Lovell. I am actually looking at the map that you provided as a follow-up to my question yesterday and about the boundaries for the hamlet of Wicklow. Is this severance then going to landlock potentially 6 more lots? Like, I'm just looking at what exists. There's 7 lots across along number 2, but it appears from this map that there could be potentially 7 more, but then would they be landlocked? When you look at the second attachment that I sent with the air photo, you'll see that there's dwellings on all of those properties already. So there may be some potential for lot line adjustments to access the hamlet designation that is to the rear. But the pattern of development where the location of houses are already really affects the ability. It's like, I don't know the quality of the houses out there. If there's houses that are maybe not of good quality, somebody may want to harness some potential for lot consolidation and boundary realignments to add further development in the future. But in this case, the house is already built.
Thank you, Madam Planner. Any further, go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Beginning with the 1/8/17/2024. And this is just another question about the retained property. So Wicklow Road is in the hamlet. Hilltop Road is out of the hamlet. Would that be correct?
Both roads in proximity to county roads do have designations that are within the hamlet designation, but it's only like there's a house on the east side of Wicklow Road. That designation captures that house, and then beyond that is rural designation. So there is some hamlet on both roads.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to ask if there's anyone in the crowd that wishes to support this application. Yes, I will get to the owner here in a few minutes. Okay, I'm going to ask, is anybody online that is in support of this application? Seeing none, is there anybody in the crowd? Second. I'm going to ask the different question then. We're going to ask, is there anyone online that is opposed to this application? Seeing none, I think I already asked virtually, or pardon me, in the building. Yeah. Anybody that wishes to seek clarification on this application? Seeing none, we have the applicant's comments, and I believe that Mr. Finley is here and might want to comment.
Sounds good that everything's okay with the first applications.
Okay. I'm going to read the motion then, unless there's somebody else with a question. It is recommended the Land Division Committee / Committee of Adjustment for the Corporation of the Township of Alma Haldeman enact as follows. That application AH 17-2024 by Jason Finley and Holly Jackson Finley to sever a parcel of land for the creation of a new hamlet lot in concession A, part of lot 13, geographically in the Township of Haldeman is approved, subject to the following conditions. That a registered survey for the several parcel be submitted to the township. In addition to the registered survey, a georeference DWG file on the severed survey, on the survey be provided in a format satisfactory to the township of and Northumberland County. Number 3, that a draft transfer for several parcels be submitted to the township. And number 4, that the tax account for the subject property be paid up to date. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Deputy Mayor Stolberg and seconded by Councillor Ainsworth. Any further questions? All in favor?
I have one question. On that second.
Yeah.
Good. But yeah, my question is just because there was already a building development and the fees were paid, do we have to pay the new development fee again on that lot?
Go ahead, Ms. Planner.
Through the chair, we didn't make a recommendation for development charges because of that fact. Yeah.
It wasn't clear on the draft.
Okay. Just for clarification, go ahead, Gracie, please. Oh, you don't have you don't have something, wait a minute. Because you're right, it does make reference to a draft.
Okay, through the chair, the draft transfer is a legal document that a lawyer prepares that would ultimately go to the registry office to create the lot. We like to make sure that noting the correct parts on a reference plan to make sure the lands are being transferred correctly. Thank you.
All in favor? That motion is carried. We have another application for consent from Jason Finley and Holly Jackson Finley, and it is AH 18-2024. Please go ahead, Madam Chair. Madam Planner.
Thank you. And through the chair and two committee members, the purpose of application AH 18-2024 is to create a new 0.55 hectare rural residential lot retaining a 9.18 hectare lot. The subject property is located on the east side of Wicklow Road and west of Hilltop Road, just north of County Road 2 and the hamlet of Wicklow. There are residential lots to the south and east, and there are croplands to the east and west and woodlands to the north. There's the unevaluated wetland feature located within the northern portion of the subject lands, and a tributary of Shelter Valley Creek flows through the northwestern corner of the subject property. Lands are designated hamlet, rural, and environmental protection. Section 2.5 and 2.6 of the PPS does permit for rural lot creation. Section 4.1 does not permit development within significant wetlands. Section 5.2, natural hazards, requires development to be directed outside of hazardous land, which may include wetlands. Lower Trent Conservation Authority verified that there are wetlands present on the proposed severed lot, and that there is not sufficient room for development to occur outside of the regulated areas. The proposal is not consistent with the provincial policy statement. The county OT designates the south portion of the retained lands as rural settlement area, and the balance of the property as rural areas. Rural areas do support lot creation. The proposed lot contains wetland, therefore the proposal is not permitted by the Natural Heritage Resources policy of the county's official plan. The property is designated hamlet, rural environmental protection in the Alma Calderman official plan. The rural designation is applied to the lands that are of marginal value for agriculture and have potential for non-agricultural development. Lot creation is supported by the rural designation. Although Schedule A does not depict the environmental protection designation on the proposed lot, it is noted that the boundaries are approximate under Section 512(3), and that the boundaries may be delineated at the time of submission of a development application. Lands designated as environmental protection are intended for the preservation and conservation of the natural land and or environment, and should be managed in such fashion as to complement adjacent land uses and protect such uses from physical hazards. The proposed governance is considered of the policy set forth in the township official plan. The subject property is zoned rural and hamlet residential. The suburb and a large portion of the retained lands are zoned rural, which permit single detached dwelling on lots, the minimum lot size of 5 hectares, along with a number of uses. The proposal was circulated to a number of departments and agencies. Public Works noted that there are outstanding issues with access to residential properties through the unopened Hilltop Road allowance. Northumberland County reviewed the application and noted that the owners have to regard where development restrictions are required by Lower Trent Conservation on the rural parcel. It was noted that development will not have adverse impacts on nearby county roads or infrastructure, and prior to issuance of building permits, septic system permits would be required. Lower Trent Conservation advised that wetlands are verified to be present within the proposed severed lot. It does not appear to have sufficient room for development that would comply with the regulatory policies with Part 6 of the Conservation Authorities Act and Ontario Regulation 4124. Lower Trent recommends that the consent application be deferred until it is an amended lot arrangement is submitted to the satisfaction of Lower Trent and the municipality to demonstrate that there is a suitable building envelope available outside of the regulated areas. Given the presence of unmapped features, a comprehensive wetland assessment is encouraged to verify the location and extent of wetlands on site. Any field verified wetlands and their associated regulatory setbacks to be placed in restrictive zoning to promote consistency with regulatory policies and municipal zoning. Detailed comments will be provided to the applicant to inform them of the findings and regulations on their property. Alderville First Nations had no comments on the application. Notice was provided to all registered property owners within 60 meters of the subject lands, and the sign was posted. We did receive call and written submission from a resident who indicated that subject property crosses the entrance to the unassumed road and is partially over the neighbor's property line to the north. There is a concern about the location of the mailbox in reference to a discussion with the applicant indicating a desire to have the mailbox moved. The submitter is concerned that Canada Post would not service the mailbox if moved to the unassumed road. They indicated that they would not agree to a severance unless the detailed survey was drawn up reflecting new property lines and a guarantee that a driveway to a severed property would be a decent distance south of the existing mailbox. The proposed severed lot is located in a rural part of the municipality just north of the hamlet of Wicklow. The proposed lot has frontage on Hilltop Road, a year-round municipally main road in that portion. The proposed retained and severed lots comply with the applicable zoning regulations. However, due to the presence of wetlands on the proposed lot, the application is not consistent with the provincial policy statement and does not maintain the intent of the Northumberland County and Township of Alderman official plans. Therefore, we're recommending deferral of the application to provide the opportunity for the applicant to revise their application in terms of lot location. Staff will review the location of the road allowance and the location of property lines to determine if additional measures are required to address access to properties on adjacent lands to the north on Hilltop Road. So as noted, we're recommending deferral of the application for further review. Thank you.
Thank you. I have one question. There's a, looks to be a road allowance parallel to County Road 2, where the Wicklow Road station is there. Yeah. So there is a possibility to take homes off there if that road was finished, or does that get us into the problem still where we have the crossing over onto maybe private property?
Through the chair, I think we need to have a close look at how the road allowances and lots are laid out in that vicinity. There's an odd shaped triangular lot there.
Okay.
We need to look at to see if there's surveys that may be available to help us determine what may need to happen. My initial look, it appears that the driveway cuts the corner of the proposed lot. So we may explore the need for easement to make sure access is appropriately looked after.
Thank you, madam. Any questions from council? Go ahead, Mary Catherine, Senior first.
This follows from my question on the previous application, but this property owner has acreage that is designated hamlet, and I'm wondering why we're not investigating what, you know, the policy statement says, which is to focus development in the hamlet areas. Through the chair, the hamlet designation captures the existing house. There's a parcel owned by others that has the frontage on Hilltop. The balance of the land would require agreement with other property owners to deal with lot line adjustments. The number of severances in the hamlet designation is not limited by policy, so there could be future potential there. The rural policy, this lot is within the rural designation, so he has opportunity to meet those policies for lot creation as well. Thank you.
And you're talking Wicklow Road there?
So I don't know, can you see that high level? So looking at this map, the orange is the hamlet designation.
Okay.
There are lots that already front onto County Road 2. This, the house that, was from the previous application is located right here.
Yes.
This is the neighboring property, that has a house fronting there. So the potential that would be remaining is if there is maybe a chance of doing some lot line adjustments, because there wouldn't be enough space to punch a road through there to get access to the back piece.
Okay, and is the water course on the,
There's a water course up in this vicinity here, and then wetlands were found on the proposed lot.
thank you. Any other questions? Go ahead.
Although it seems like there's some potential for the homeowner or the landowner to possibly get more severances, so. And with all the other questions, it would be more viable for future development if he gets some answers clarified first, so I would be in favor of the deferral.
Thank you. Mike, go ahead.
Sorry, through the chair, just to clarify, within the rural designation, this would be the last, permitted severance. Someone would really have to look at the lot that front onto County Road 2 to see if there would be enough lot area to adjust lot lines and maybe do boundary realignment. So there may or may not be potential. Somebody would have to really look at that. Yeah.
Thank you.
So there wouldn't be room on Wicklow Road for proposed lots?
In regards to where the house is, that the previous application was approved for, that house is already developed. And to be able to meet the minimum lot area needed for private services, it doesn't appear that there'd be enough room for another lot there.
On Wicklow Road.
Correct.
So no other lots in Wicklow Road.
The hem must end right there then.
Yeah, it basically ends at the northern limits of where the house is. It ends at the northern limits of where the house is.
Any further, Mike, did you have a question?
I did,
Comment?
through you. So a couple of questions, and I want to maybe wait until I hear from the owner on this property when it comes to the wetland. I mean, me, if I stand in that property, I can see Lake Ontario. So I don't see where the water is running around. So, again, it's, I don't know if when the owner comes up to speak, maybe he can explain where that water course is.
I'm sure he will. If he wants to. Okay, is there anybody in the gallery that is in support of this application and wants to speak? We'll give you a chance in a few minutes. Is there anybody online that wants to speak to this? As in support? There is none, so we'll ask, is there anyone in the gallery that is against this proposal? Sir, would you like to come to the microphone? Would you like to come to the microphone? Mary Catherine, you have to turn on your mic.
Good. Yeah, my name's Gord Blackton. I live south of the proposed lot that they want to make residential. My concern is my well is supplied from that wetland and that hill. And I'm also concerned about the wildlife in the area. If they build on that land, there's tons of wildlife in that area. So mine is just a statement that I'm hoping the councilors just keep it as a rural area and leave it as a green space.
Okay, thank you very much. That will be recorded. Well, can you repeat your name, please?
Gord Blackton.
Blaisneath?
Blackton. Scottish.
Okay, I knew there was a bit of an act there. Okay, is there anybody online that is against this application? I'll ask that again, is there anyone that's seeking clarification on the application? Seeing none, does the applicant have any comments? I think that's ready to go. Yeah, please.
Hey, all right, sorry, George, I guess I should have spoken to you. I didn't know you had an issue as well as the neighbor. But the main reason that I would like this lot up top is because I'm trying to save as much of the farmland as we could. This is my grandfather's farm. And originally, when the initial lot was created up there, they recommended to leave that space for a future lot. So on top of, obviously, the township will get their money for your lot. There will be no additional road work required. And we can probably clarify this next with the road allowance. Because there's a lot of issues up there, you know, there's no driveway that should be a driveway, blah, blah, blah. And then as far as the wetlands go, I didn't get a chance to talk to Lower Trent, I couldn't get the day off work. But there's been a culvert put underneath the road allowance that drains directly into the property, which is certainly creating some of the water. Because, I mean, I know there's a wetland further to the west, northwest of the property, and it does drain down on the Wicklow Road. But that lot runs on a normal slope, like east to west. And it's up high, you'll have a view of the lake, it's a perfect spot for a house. So this is why, that's where we were kind of hoping to get the lot. And I don't know that it's gonna really affect the wildlife, because there's the whole area of forest that they go behind. You know, I know there's deer in the field, we see the turkeys. So I don't think one lot is gonna really affect the wildlife, or I don't see how a drilled well would really affect, you know, the well either. We're not debating. No, I get it. I'm just saying. You don't want water, you don't want water running into your house right now. So I don't, in my opinion, I don't foresee that being an issue with the water for the well. But this is my reasoning why we would prefer that. Like, I don't really want to have a driveway going beside the existing house that's there, so you can squeeze a lot in behind the other people's houses where the hamlet area is that you were talking about. And I don't think the people on Highway 2 would really want houses behind their house either. So, again, this is just the reasoning why that was where we applied, and I know there's only one application left. So. Okay. Anybody have any? Go ahead.
Just a clarification, if I could, Mayor Lobo, when I'm looking at AH 18/2024, the proposed lot, and then there's a line underneath, could that parcel of land, I'm not sure if Mr. Finley owns that whole chunk, if making that bigger there would assist at all, not necessarily with the wetland, but I guess that would be to you, Madam Planner.
Through the chair, the lands that are owned by this, Jason and Holly Finley are outlined in green plus the red. The grayed out parcels are owned by others.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Go ahead, Mike.
To you, Mayor. So just to clarify, we have two issues. Is that old road allowance an issue? Because when I do an aerial view of this, it looks like this property is literally on the other guy's property across the road. So is that part of the issue too, along with, and if this tributary water, and again, I have a hard time believing it's gonna reach Delta Valley Creek, but, is the runoff from that culvert that the owner's talking about? And if it is, could we, you know, ditch it properly to get it away from the from that lot so they can get on with this, 7?
Well, and I think that's why I've recommended deferral, so we can have a look at with some more detail to see, what is out there and what needs to be rectified. So that the lot is in the best location possible to, minimize impacts on the environment as well as on the adjoining property owners, and to sort out the road allowance issue. Air photos and lot lines aren't always accurate as surveys are, so we'll have to do some digging to see what surveys we have and see if additional works are needed to figure out what is where in terms of road allowances, property boundaries. I hope I answered all parts of your question. Thank you.
I think I'm gonna read the proposed, the proposed recommendation from staff. It is recommended that the Land Division Committee / Committee of Adjustment of the Corporation of the Township of Alamacac, Haldeman enact as follows. That application MV further down. That application AH 18/2024 by Jason and Holly Jackson Finley to sever a parcel of the land for the creation of a new rural residential lot in concession A, part of lot 13, geographically in the township of Haldeman, be deferred until an amendment for lot arrangement is submitted to the satisfaction of the Lower Trent Conservation Authority and the township of Alma Haldeman with a suitable building envelope outside of natural heritage features and regulated areas, thereby demonstrating consistency and conformity to the provincial, county, and township lot creation policies and Part 4 of the Conservation Authorities Act and Ontario Regulation 41/24, and that staff have completed a review of the location of road allowances and property lines to determine if additional measures are required to address access to adjacent lands. Can I get a mover and a seconder for that recommendation? Moved by Deputy Mayor Stover. Seconded by Councilor Ainsworth. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Yeah.
Do we have kind of a timeline that we can give our resident, what it might take them before we could reconvene with this, and will it have to come back to council?
And so the plan is to set up a meeting with the applicants from the Conservation Authority to have a better look at the findings to determine the next path forward. So it's the intention that once we, either come up with another location or adjust the current location to address the issues, what would happen is we likely need to schedule another recommendation / public meeting because I expect the limits will be changed. So that would be coming up at a future council meeting. So we'll endeavor to sort out the information as quickly as possible. I'm not sure if it requires groundwork during certain seasons when wetland features can be observed. Sometimes it's a seasonally required constrained work that needs to be done. So I did talk to the applicant, and their sense of urgency was more with the application for severance of the existing house, and that there's time, I think, to sort out the balance of the issues and come up with a better proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. All in favor? Motion's carried. Thank you, everyone. We're going to move on to minor variances. And we have a minor variance application for James and Lori Ann Maitland. Minor variance 04/2024. Madam Planner, please go ahead.
Thank you to the chair. The application is for proposed minor variance to reduce the minimum rear yard depth from 12 meters to 5.3 meters and the minimum interior side yard width from 6 meters to 4.1 meters. The subject property is located within the Nawatin subdivision plan 470 that was registered in 1991. The lot is 5,682 meters square and it has a single detached dwelling with a pool and a shed. The house is located in the north corner of the property with an approximate 75-meter setback to the front lot line located at the south limit. The house faces the exterior side yard lot line. The subject property is located on the northeast corner of Watton Drive, where it ends to the east, just south of Lake Shore Road. The property is surrounded by residential lots within the Nawatin subdivision, and the subdivision is located on the north shore of Lake Ontario, southwest of Grafton. The Nawatin Nature Sanctuary bisects the subdivision and is located just east of the subject property. The property is designated shoreline in the township of Alma-Caldwin official plan. Permitted uses include permanent residential uses, seasonal residential uses, and existing limited service residential uses. Section 2.6 of the PPS permits residential development where site conditions are suitable for the provision of appropriate sewage and water services. It can be sustained by rural services and is appropriate to the infrastructure that is planned and available. Lower Trent Conservation confirmed that the property has been cleared for residential use and that mapped wetlands are not present on the majority of the subject land. As such, the proposal conforms with the natural heritage policies contained in section 5.2 of the PPS. Section 4.6, cultural heritage and archaeology, indicates that planning authorities shall not permit development and site alteration on lands containing archaeological potential unless significant archaeological resources have been conserved. Planning authorities shall engage early with Indigenous communities and ensure their interests are considered when identifying, protecting, managing archaeological resources, built heritage resources, cultural heritage landscape. Provided the policies for the cultural heritage and archaeology are addressed, the application is consistent with the PPS. Northumberland County's official plan designates the property as rural areas, which permits residential uses and accessory uses to a residence. The entirety of the subject property appears to be regulated by Lower Trent Conservation. As such, Northumberland County advised that the township should consult with Lower Trent to ensure the proposal is sited in an appropriate location. The proposed development generally conforms with the county's official plan. The subject property is designated shoreline in the township's official plan. Permitted uses include permanent residential, seasonal, and existing limited service residential uses. Both the Planning Act and the Township of Alma-Caldwin official plan set out 4 tests for evaluating minor variances. The 4 tests required are that the variance is minor. The variance must be desirable and appropriate development or use of the land. That it must maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw, and the variance must maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan. Section 7.4.2 indicates that sites with archaeological potential shall require an assessment undertaken by an archaeologist as a condition of approval for development applications. The Ministry of Tourism and Culture and Sports provides the checklist for criteria evaluating archaeological potential. Aldergrove First Nation indicated that the subject property is in close proximity to the lake and in an area of known archaeological sites, and that the proposal meets the criteria for an assessment. Provided the policy for archaeological potential is addressed, the proposal is consistent with the official plan. The subject property is zoned special rural residential number 39, RR 39. The proposed variance seeks relief from section 7.2.6 for the reduction in the minimum rear yard depth from 12 meters to 5.3 meters and section 7.2.5 for a reduction in the minimum side yard depth from 6 to 4.1. The requested variance would permit the construction of an attached garage and covered deck. The application was circulated to a number of departments and agencies. Public Works noted they had no concerns with the proposal. Northumberland County had no objections to the variance. They noted that the sewage system will need to be reviewed after the minor variance is approved to ensure the size and capacity of carrying any new proposed load. Alderville First Nation advised archaeological assessment is required as it is in close proximity to the lake and an area of known archaeological sites. Please advise the landowner that Alderville expects to be engaged in the assessment when it is scheduled. Lower Trent advised that the subject lands are within their regulated area and prior to development activities taking place on the site, a permit would be required. The minor variance will need to demonstrate that the subject proposal can adhere to the regulatory proposals through the complete permit application. It's noted that the lands are not within a Trent source protection area and that they advise that they have no objection provided that they can demonstrate through a permit that it meets the regulation under Ontario Regulation 4124. No comments were received from the balance of the circulated agencies as of the writing of the report. Notice of the application was circulated to all registered owners with land on land within 60 meters of the subject property, and a sign was posted that same day. I did receive a message. I've not been able to connect with the person, although I believe their question was related to another matter. The variance is required to permit the construction of a garage and a covered deck. In reviewing the application, the four tests of the minor variance have been considered, and it's determined that the variance is minor. Although the requested reductions may seem significant, consideration to the siting of the house tucked into the rear corner needs consideration. Yard depths are intended to provide adequate amenity area and privacy to and from adjacent property. Neighboring houses are offset from the house on the subject land due to the lot pattern, providing adequate privacy. The variance is desirable and appropriate for the land. The variance will facilitate the construction of a garage and deck addition to a single detached dwelling. The shared yards with neighboring properties are well vegetated, and the applicant has cited the proposed addition to avoid removal of the majority of that vegetation and to avoid the septic system. The general intent of the Almut-Calderman official plan has been maintained. The policies permit the residential use. The general intent of the Almut-Calderman zoning bylaw is maintained. The use is permitted in the rural residential special exception RR39 zone. Due to the large front yard depth and siting of the house to face the corner lot line, there is adequate amenity space within the front yard to serve the single detached dwelling. The neighboring houses are offset from the house on the subject property, providing adequate privacy. Provided the policies for archaeological potential are addressed, the applicant obtains a permit from Lower Trent Conservation Authority. The proposed variance meets the intent of the Almut-Calderman official plan, the Northumberland County official plan, Almut-Calderman zoning bylaw, and is consistent with the provincial policy statement. It is recommended that the application be deferred to provide staff with the opportunity to review plans within the lot and subdivision to determine if the archaeological potential for the development had already been assessed. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Planner. Questions from council? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Here, I will go to Madam Planner. I would agree for the deferral, just on your last statement there, if it's already been done, that would save a financial cost to the homeowners as well. So I'd be in agreement of that. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Through you, Mayor. So if it's confirmed that an archaeological assessment has been done, will that have to come back to council, or will you just address it with the owner?
So my thought was that this would come back if the archaeological assessment was already done and I confirm with Alderville that they're satisfied, then that would be a condition of approval. At this point, if I had written approval, that would be a condition, and if it's already been done, I want to have a good look in the files first, because we get applications in with limited time to review before receiving comments. They come in close to the report deadline. There wasn't enough time to do some finding of files. I haven't uncovered anything here, but I am in touch with staff at the county to see if they have any records in their filing system, to see if that work's already been done. Thank you.
Is there anyone here in the room that is in support of this application? Is there, and I'll ask the same question for people that could be attending online. Okay, seeing none. Is there anyone against this application in the gallery? Seeing none. Anybody online for that? Okay, thank you. Is there anybody that's in the gallery that wishes to get clarification on this application? Okay. Are the applicants here in attendance? Would they like to make a comment? Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm going to read the recommendation as provided by staff. That application MV04 2024 by James and Lori Ann Maitland for a property legally described as Part 470, Lot 13, Concession A, Part Lot 25, Township of Haldeman, now in the Township of Haldeman, to reduce the minimum rear yard depth from 12 meters to 5.3 meters, and the minimum interior side yard width from 6 to 4.1 meters be deferred to provide staff with the opportunity to review the files for the Newatton subdivision to determine if the archaeological potential for the development has already been assessed. I get a mover in a second. Moved by Councilor Ainsworth, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stover. Any questions or comments? All in favor? That motion is carried. Moving along to motion to adjourn, that the Committee of Adjustment / the Land Division Committee meeting held on October 22nd, 2024 be adjourned at 11:20 a.m. Are you moving to seconder? Moved by Councilor Ainsworth, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stover. We'll take a 10-minute break. Okay, can I get a mover in a second to take a 10-minute break? I thought so, yeah. Yeah. We did take a call a vote for to adjourn, correct? Yeah. I thought we did, but
Sorry, missed that.
that's okay. Thank you. We're almost, no, I need a motion to reconvene to the Municipal Planning Regular Council meeting. That the Council of the Township of Haldeman, being the Land Division Committee and the Committee of Adjustment, reconvene to the Municipal Planning Regular Council meeting at 11:33 a.m. Mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councilor Ainsworth and seconded by Deputy Mayor Stover. All, any questions? All in favor? Motion's carried. Motion to go into a public meeting. It is recommended the council of the corporation of the township of Alma-Cullivan enact as follows. The council go into a public meeting under section 34 of the Planning Act at 11:35 a.m. 34 a.m. Mover and seconder. Moved by Councillor O'Neill and seconded by Councillor Ainsworth. All in favor? Motion's carried. And our first one is a zoning bylaw amendment application by Serraris Construction and Development Limited. Brian James Serraris, zoning Z062024. Any comments from the planners?
Through the chair, so application Z06/2024 applies to lands owned by Stress Construction Development Limited, located on second line north of 12439 Second Line Road. The application is required as a condition of consent application A13/2024 and A14/2024, which were submitted concurrently with this application to create two rural residential lots. The subject property is located on the second line road, west of Masters Road, southeast of Rosemead. The majority of the subject lands are under agricultural cultivation. The majority of the lands where the lots are proposed are vegetated and not farmed. There are agricultural lands surrounding the subject property and smaller residential lots to the south. The subject property is primarily designated rural with a small portion of the northwest corner designated Oak Ridges Moraine in the township's official plan. The proposal is consistent with the provincial policy statement, and the proposed lots do meet the minimum distance separation setback requirement. As noted, a small portion of the retained lands that are located in the Oak Ridges Moraine have no development proposed in those areas. The county official plan designates most of the property rural areas and the northwest corner of Oak Ridges Moraine. The county land use policies support lot creation and the residential use of the proposed lot. The proposal is consistent with the Cumberland County's official plan. The township of Almut-Caldman's official plan designated the properties rural and Oak Ridges Moraine Schedule A. The policies pertaining to the rural designation are located in 5.10 of the official plan and do allow for rural residential lots. The proposed severance complies with the policies in the township official plan as well as the related zoning. The majority of the subject property is zoned rural, while a small portion in the northwest corner is Oak Ridges Moraine Environmental and Oak Ridges Moraine Linkage. The rural zone permits a wide range of uses, including single detached dwellings, agricultural and farm uses. The Oak Ridges Moraine zone permits agricultural uses, while the Oak Ridges Environmental zone does not. That small portion of the property zoned Oak Ridges Moraine Environmental is heavily forested, and the owner has not indicated any changes to that area. Rezoning of the severed lot are subject to application A13/2024, A14/2024, and this application is required as a condition of that approval. The application was circulated to a number of departments and agencies. Public Works had no concerns, noting an entrance permit will be required for each of the severed lots prior to development. Northumberland County had no objection. Lower Trent Conservation Authority indicated no hazards are identified on the land, and there are no areas that are subject to their regulation. Alderville First Nation had no comments with the application. No comments were received from the balance of the circulated agencies. Notice was provided to all registered property owners within 120 meters of the property, and a sign was posted. No public comments have been received to date. The proposed zoning bylaw amendment is located in a rural part of the municipality outside of the Oak Ridges Moraine with frontage on Second Line Road. There are no natural and heritage or natural hazards on the subject property. The rezoning from rural to rural residential will address the lot area that does not conform with the rural zone provisions. The application complies with the policies set forth in the Northumberland County's official plan, the township's official plan, and is consistent with the provincial policy statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Does council have any questions or comments regarding this zoning bylaw change? Are there any members of the public here or online that are in support of this application? Seeing none, I'll ask if there's anybody against this amendment, zoning bylaw amendment. Seeing none, does anybody have any questions or seeking clarification? Seeing none, I'll ask the applicant if there's any comments. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. We'll go on to the next one, which is a zoning bylaw amendment for Vaughn and Tina Bodlick.
I think you need to vote on the last.
No, there's no vote.
No vote? Oh,
No, we were in a public meeting.
oh,
Yeah. So the vote
For
comes at the
bylaw.
bylaw.
sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
Sorry.
I'll ask the same questions. You don't feel bad about that.
Thank you.
See you, Barry. So, please go ahead with zoning bylaw number Z072024.
Thank you. The application applies to lands owned by Yvonne and Tina Bolden. It's located at 163 Ingham Road. This application is required as a condition of consent applications A15-2024, A17-2024, and A18-2024, which were approved by the Land Division Committee of Adjustment on November 28th, 2023. The land subject to the application is located on Ingham Road, east of Sherrod Point Road. The east end of the property fronts on Rice Lake, southwest of White Island. The property contains tributaries of Rice Lake, and a large portion of the subject property is covered by the Donut Landing provincially significant wetland, an area of natural and scientific interest. The northern portion of the property has been planted with trees. There are seasonal dwellings located on the northeast fronting Rice Lake and residential dwellings to the east and north. There are 3 vacant residential lots to the west fronting on Ingham Road. The subject property is primarily designated rural environmental protection and environmental protection / PSW on Schedule A of the Township of Alma-Calderman's official plan. Sections 2.5 and 2.6 of the PPM permit rural residential lot creation where site conditions are suitable. Section 4.1 requires the protection of natural features for the long term. Development is not permitted in significant wetlands and areas of natural and scientific interest. Development on adjacent lands must demonstrate that there will be no negative impact on those features and their ecological functions. The applicant has submitted a scope natural heritage evaluation demonstrating the proposed lots will not impact the adjacent natural heritage features. Section 5.2 of the provincial policy statement requires development to be located outside of hazardous land. Lower Trent Conservation advised that the proposed lots appear to be outside of the map flood hazard, and therefore the application is consistent with section 5.2 and the balance of the policies of the provincial policy statement. The county's OP designates the property as rural areas along the northern portion in proximity to Ingham Road. The balance of the property is designated environmental protection areas. The rural areas permit uses such as agriculture, environmental, and rural housing. The environmental protection areas are intended to identify provincially significant wetlands and ANSIs. To protect those features for the long term. Development and site exploration are not permitted in either the PSWs or the ANSIs unless it's demonstrated through natural heritage evaluation to the satisfaction of Lower Trent Conservation and the township that there will be no negative effect on the natural heritage features or ecological function. The proposed severed parcels appear to be located within the rural area. And the natural heritage evaluation demonstrates that to the satisfaction of the Lower Trent Conservation that there's no adverse impact, therefore it conforms with the county's official plan. The subject property is designated rural environmental protection and environmental protection PSW and the Alma Calderman official plan. The rural designation does permit residential lots. The proposed severed lots would be considered non-farm residential and are permitted in the rural designation. Section 4.2.1, the official plan requires lots to have frontage on a year-round municipally maintained road, which Ingham Road is. The official plan requires the lots to be appropriately sized for private services, which they are, and sections 5.12.8, 8.1, 8.6, and 8.7 requires the submission of an environmental impact study or natural heritage evaluation for development of within 120 meters of those features. The proposed severance complies with the township's official plan. The zoning of the property is rural and environmental protection. The proposed lots are within the rural zone, which permit the single detached dwelling uses. The minimum lot size for the rural zone is 5 hectares and a frontage of 60 meters is required, whereas the proposed lots are 0.4 hectares and 5.3 or 53.34 of lot frontage, which is smaller than what's permitted by the rural. And so the lots are approved in principle with conditions requiring the zoning. The proposed lots fit into the regulations of the rural residential zone, which is why the rezoning is required. The wetlands identified by the Natural Heritage Evaluation discussed in the policy section of the report are not part of the Danette Landing PSW. These wetlands and associated 30-meter setback will need to be placed in the environmental protection zone. The application was circulated to departments and agencies. Public Works noted that they will require permit applications, entrance permit applications for the severed lots prior to development. Northumberland County reviewed the application and had no objections. Lower Trent advised that they have no objection to the approval of the application. They noted that the scope natural heritage evaluation prepared by Oak Ridges Environmental was reviewed and for the related consent application. As of April 1st, 2024, Ontario Regulation 4024 was established where Lower Trent no longer regulates 120 meters from provincially significant wetlands, but rather 30 meters from those wetlands. Based on the legislative changes, Lower Trent has no concerns with the location and rezoning of the proposed severed lots. Detailed comments will be provided to the applicant so they're aware of the portion of the subject lands that are regulated by Lower Trent. Alderville First Nations indicated that there should be more than a 30-meter buffer applied to provincially significant wetlands. No comments were received from the balance of circulated agencies. The application was circulated to property owners within 120 meters of the property and a sign was posted. No comments have been received to date. To address the policy requirements of the PPS, the county's plan, and the Alma Calderman official plan, the natural heritage evaluation was prepared. It concluded that the proposed lots could occur within the open cultural meadow conifer plantation on the property, which is where they are located. The property contains significant wildlife habitat and the Dunnet Landing Marsh, which is a provincially significant wetland and an area of natural and scientific interest. The endangered red-headed woodpecker was observed on neighboring property, and there is the endangered black ash on site. The constraint map provided indicates ash mineral deciduous swamp, and other swamps that are outside of the Dunnet Landing. So a wetland setback of 30 meters is proposed. Since the proposed lot boundaries are outside of those setbacks, the proposal satisfies the policy's requirements. The proposed lots are not within the habitat for the red-headed woodpecker. It's recommended that vegetation removal not occur between April 1st and August 31st, which includes the breeding period for those birds. The black ash was observed within the wetland feature and will be protected by the 30-meter vegetation protection zone. The eastern portion of the retained lands are suitable for turtle nesting. However, it's located within the PSW ANSI and will not be developed. The proposed severed lots are located in the rural part of the municipality within Ingham Road, which is a year-round maintained road. The lots are appropriately sized residential parcels. The EIS concluded that any potential impact can be appropriately mitigated by implementing the recommendations outlined in the report. There was a condition for an agreement to implement those recommendations through the consent application. The wetlands and their 30-meter setback are proposed to be within the EP zone. And it should be noted there is more than 30 meters between the PSW and the proposed lot limit, which I would expect satisfies the comments from Alderville. The revisions required by Lower Trent through the severance applications to the natural heritage evaluation were reviewed, and they are satisfied with that. The recommendations will be addressed in a development agreement. The proposed lots require rezoning to address the minimum lot area and frontage. As such, the application is consistent with the provincial policy statement and generally complies with the county and township official plan. Thank you.
Well done. You must be getting dry.
Yeah.
Okay, is there any questions from council regarding this application? Go ahead, Mayor Catherine.
Not actually a question, but it is both in the background and in the body. It refers to A 17 and 18, 16, 17, and 18, and it says 2024. But I believe those should be 2023 because we were dealing with the 2024 ones today, and that's not what we're talking about in this report. Yes, sorry. Sorry, I just saw that sounds a little bit to you, and I'm like, the years are blurring together.
So you're going to comment on that, Tracy, or?
Yeah, it's a typo. The year should be 2023.
Okay. Thank you. Any other further questions or comments from council? Okay, I'll ask if anybody's in support of this application to the people here, as well as anybody attending online. And seeing none, we'll go on to those opposed or against this application. Z072024. Either here in the building or at home, or coming in virtually. Seeing none, is there anybody needs or seeking clarification on this application? And does the applicant wish to make any comments? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 9, which is a motion to reconvene to a municipal planning / regular council meeting. That the council of the township of Alma reconvene to the municipal planning regular council meeting at 11:53 a.m. Mover and the seconder. Moved by Deputy Mayor Stover, seconded by Council Ainsworth. Any questions? All in favor? That motion's carried. Going to move on to bylaws. And the first bylaw is 74-2024 to amend bylaw 19-2019, the zoning bylaw Z062024. That bylaw number 74-2024 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 19-2019, zoning bylaw Z0624, be given a first, second, and third reading and finally pass this 22nd day of October 2024. Did I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Deputy Mayor Stover and seconded by Councilor Ainsworth. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion's carried. Going to move on to bylaw 75-2024, which is another zoning bylaw amendment. And I'll read the resolution that bylaw 75-2024 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 19-2019 zoning bylaw Z07-2024 be given a first, second, and third reading and finally pass this 22nd day of October 2024. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councilor Ainsworth, seconded by Councilor O'Neill. Any discussion? All in favor? That motion's carried. We have an administrative report. It is regarding purchase, I believe, of FIN 2024 sand service purchasing. Do you have any comments on that? Well, if there's some questions, we'll go back to it. That council received report FIN 2024-03 sand service purchasing for information, and that the council authorized the mayor and clerk to award RFP number 022024 supply and delivery of sand servers be awarded to CDW Canada Corporate at a value of $45,191.75 plus HST, and that a bylaw be brought forward for consideration to authorize the mayor and the clerk to execute a purchasing agreement with CDW Canada for the supply and delivery of sand servers. Did I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Deputy Mayor Stover, seconded by Councilor Ainsworth. Any questions? Yes, go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
To our Chief Administrative Officer, what is a sand servers?
Through you, Mayor Logan, my understanding is a technical term.
Well, the other question too, when I was reading it, through you, Mayor Logan, to Dave, they didn't get in on the first round, but they got in on the second. When you did a CDW, we're lacking something, or am I reading this right? And then it went out again, but then they came in and were successful.
It was with respect to the warranty associated with the servers.
Okay, we covered that.
So now our understanding is through our IT provider that it is.
Thank you.
Any further? Go ahead, Mayor Catherine.
Through you, Mayor, local to Deputy Mayor. This did come before us, and there'd been an anomaly, and in the end, putting it back out actually cost us more money, and I think it's worth noting that proving the point cost us more money.
But we have got a guarantee, a warranty that we didn't have before.
Right, but they weren't saying that was an additional cost of 6,000 and something, and now they came back with a bid that was 10,000 more.
I was saying, we don't warranty them.
Yeah.
Fine point of people reading them. And they go out.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Opposed? Seeing none, that is carried. Next, we have Northumberland County invitation to attend a joint council meeting for homeless 101 training. I'm going to read the resolution. Whereas a joint meeting of Northumberland County Council and the 7-member municipal councils will take place on November 7th, 2024 regarding the issue of homelessness for the purpose of education and training. And whereas based on the legal guidance and governance best practices, Northumberland County seeks a common resolution adopted by each of the participating member municipality councils. Now therefore be resolved that the Township of Alma-Culdevan Council hereby authorize the council's participation in the November 7th Homeless 101 joint meeting, and further be resolved that the council authorize the use of Northumberland County's procedural bylaw number 392023 as supplemented by the special procedures for the day for the purpose of the November 7th meeting, and further be resolved that the council authorize the Northumberland County Clerk to be the presiding clerk at the November 7th joint meeting, and further that it be resolved that the council authorize special procedures for the sole purpose of facilitating the joint meeting on November 7th, including number 1, that the official record of the meeting shall be kept by the county clerk. Number 2, that a quorum for the meeting shall be 50% plus 1 of the total members of the participating councils, noting that county councilors shall be counted only once, although they are a member of both upper and lower tiers, and that the other procedures are all necessary by the venue may be used for the purpose of the November 7th meeting. Can I get a mover and second? Moved by Deputy Mayor Stover and seconded by Councillor O'Neill. Any questions or comments? Yes, go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Through you, Mayor Local, and back to you. When with just the last part you mentioned, and they're looking for a quorum of 50% plus 1. So if we're lacking, would you have the ability to be counted as a mayor of Alma-Culdevan if we needed it, or will you stay on as a county councillor?
I will go wherever I need to be.
That's a good question.
Good answer.
The other big,
But I have one comment just on that.
Yeah.
So if we don't have it, if we weren't to have it, does that mean we have to leave?
Well, I guess you would have to go to where you need it.
No. I mean, for Alma-Culdevan to be there. If we don't have 3 people there, then we can't participate?
No, I would think it would be on the whole, get it to the little account.
Oh, okay. Well, do you agree with that? You're the expert.
Through Mayor Local, in reading that bullet point number 2, that quorum for the meeting shall be 50% plus 1 of the total members of the participating councils.
Okay.
To me, that reads that it'd be 50% plus 1 of all 8 municipal councils within Northumberland.
Yeah.
And the other question, we're gonna have a bus going from spot to spot, because that's a lot of vehicles in and out of these places.
I believe I asked that question and never got a response.
When I, as well.
Will we be meeting before then? No.
No.
I'll see if I can't get an answer, and if I can, I'll supply that back to everyone.
The other.
And I got the impression there wasn't one.
Okay, the other question, when I tried to, is it the same county clerk that is the county clerk, or is there another one? Because I couldn't reach the page to reserve my spot, but I'll talk to you after about that.
I can answer you right now. It's either Madison Mather or Cheryl Saunders.
Oh,
Either one of them can help you with that, I think. Mayor Catherine?
I just thought I'd give a bit of background. So this is the Intermunicipal Task Force on Housing and Homelessness. So I've been attending that as their representative since its creation. And this is something we've definitely talked about as a council, wanting to know and understand better the role of the county in social services and in housing. And so I'm very excited that this is going to be happening. It is set up for training so that you'll have the opportunity to ask the questions that you've been curious about and to have a frank discussion of some of these things. I'm not familiar with the guest speaker, but I'm certain that Chris Foreman will be excellent. So I'm not sure if anybody has any more questions about how this came about, but it has been something that the task force identified as a need within its own members that we didn't have a great understanding and that we needed to help our fellow councillors have a better understanding of these issues.
Thank you, Councillor O'Neill. Any further questions or comments? All in favor of the motion? That motion's carried.
I do have one last comment.
Okay,
I hope to see all of you here. It is going to be a worthwhile event.
thank you. Bylaws. Bylaw 76, 2024, authorizing the execution of an agreement with CDW, Sand Service. It is recommended that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Elm enact as follows. That bylaw number 76, 2024, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of an agreement with CDW, Canada Corp, for sand service be given a first, second, and third reading and finally passed this 22nd day of October 2024. Did I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councilor Ainsworth, second by Deputy Mayor Stover. Any further discussion? All in favor? That motion's carried. Oh, the next one is confirming bylaw 77-2024. The bylaw 77-2024 being a bylaw to adopt the proceedings of the municipal planning / regular council meeting held on the 22nd day of October 2024 and to authorize its execution be given a first, second, and third reading and finally passed this 22nd day of October 2024. Mover and second. Moved by Councillor Ainsworth, seconded by Councillor O'Neill. Further discussion? All in favor? Motion's carried. And final one is that the municipal planning / regular council meeting held on October 22nd, 2024 be adjourned at 12:05 p.m. Mover and seconder. Moved by Deputy Mayor Stover and seconded by Councillor Ainsworth. All in favor? Motion's carried. Thank you, everyone.